Is the tribulation period 7 years long, or is it really 3.5 years? The answer is pretty clear. Just look in the book of Daniel and Revelation, and you will find mention of time, times, and half a time, or 3.5 years, in Daniel 7:25, Daniel 12:7, and Revelation 12:14. 1260 days are mentioned in Revelation 11:3 and in chapter 12, verse 6. 42 months are referenced in Revelation 11:2 and in chapter 13, verse 5. Also, we find 1290 days mentioned in Daniel 12:11 and 1335 days in Daniel 12:12. I discussed the possible reasons why they are slightly longer in other posts. So where did the idea of the 7-year tribulation come from, since there's no place in the Bible that says this? It comes from one place, Daniel chapter 9, verse 27, and the way dispensationalists interpret the 70 weeks of Daniel. The 70 weeks, or 490 years, are divided into 3 parts. There's 7 plus 62 weeks, and then there's the final week. Looking at Daniel chapter 9, verse 24, we read, 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your holy city, to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. In verse 25, we are told that after a period of 7 weeks and the 62 weeks, or 483 years, the Messiah would come. And in verse 26 and 27, we find a list of things that would occur in the final week. And after the 62 weeks, we are to expect the Messiah to be cut off, which occurred during the last 7 years, and the city to be destroyed, which happened about 40 years later. And he, the Messiah in this context, puts an end to sacrifices and offerings by his sacrifice and offering on the cross of Calvary. The 490 years likely ended after the stoning of Stephen, we see in Acts chapter 7. The Jews drove out the early Christians from Jerusalem, and the message of the gospel spread to the rest of the world from that point on. The time of the Jews as God's chosen instrument came to its end. Daniel was told, 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your holy city. No 2,000 plus year gap, although you will find many preachers repeating this theory from their pulpit, primarily because that is the way it was explained to them when they went to seminary school.